Hello everybody, Fluby Collector here. Just wanted to make a quick showcase video of a portion of my collection. Yesterday I had been outside cutting up an apple tree that we had to cut down in the fall last year, so I needed to cut it up, get it off the lawn because we're getting close to having to cut the grass finally. And anyway, Nat had to go out to the clubhouse and get some extension cords because I was just using it wasn't a huge apple tree, but just using an electric chainsaw. So anyway, I was out there and I was like, got looking and said, you know what, I don't think I've ever shown these. So I figured let's go ahead and bring them in, take a look, kind of remind myself what I had in the space. Really low end collector in this space, but something I'd like to play around and learn a little bit more. So I've sent out some feelers even last night, asking some people about information, what are some good sources. So if there's any interest in the community and learning more about this, I'm happy to share what those sources end up being. Tops did put out some in 2016. They put out something similar to these, but these are more vintage 1900s type stuff, early 1900s, wartime and thereafter. And so anyway, just wanted to show a little bit of that collection, and I hope you enjoy. So here we have an example of it. What part of this collection is basically punch cards and punch boards. I mean, these were popular in the 1900s. I think hitting their heydays in the late 1930s, probably. They were basically banished to be outlawed for a period of time, and then sometime after, I think it was World War II, at some point they pretty much just went away. In 2016, Topps Heritage produced some punch cards and punch card relic combinations. I didn't pick up any of those. These are just kind of old vintage stuff that take me back to kind of my parents, and kind of, as I'd mentioned in previous videos, a lot of the things that I have in the cub house are kind of dual meaning, things that I'm interested in, but also that remind me of someone else. And these particular items remind me of my parents, so it's kind of a connection for me. And obviously the ones that I'm most interested in are the baseball themed ones. So what a punch card or punch board is, for anybody that doesn't know, it's basically a gambling device or a trading stimulator. Essentially just a board or a card that had a bunch of holes with a number or a prize or something like that written on a small piece of paper or foil or whatever they decided the insert to be inside of little holes. So all these little dots are essentially a punch hole, and this one here might have one or two punches through. It's not obviously it's not pristine in any stretch, but in fact I don't even know much about this particular one because there's no manufacturer on this, but I have sent out pictures of it to try to get some more information about it. But it's for 5 cents. Patrons could purchase a punch. So each punch would have cost 5 cents. They come in, they punch it out with a nail or whatever item is that the particular location had, punch it out, pull the piece of paper out, and depending on what they punched, they'd get one out. If they received a home run in this particular one, they'd receive a dollar in trade. If their thing said sacrifice hit, they received 5 cents in trade. So it's essentially as a push, basically, and then all the different options in between. So it was a way to get people to come in, and in this case they're winning a trade, so it'd be like a trading stimulator type game. So this particular one is more of a punch board. So you can see it's a thickness, probably what, size of a thumbnail in terms of depth. Then there's all kinds of variations, and then the back is essentially where the punch would come out the back, and you could pull out the item. Some would have, if it had a punch key, I think the later ones, they had a little sealed container in here that had a punch key in the back that you would take out that you would then use to punch it out, and it was just a way to store it, I guess, for the businesses. So anyway, but you can see it's a baseball themed one, using baseball terminology and whatnot. And this particular one was 5 cents. And so this is a punch board that's actually it is a Texas Charlie cigarettes. So this particular one was a 25-cent punch board, and this is still in a sealed paper. So this is how they would have come, and I would imagine perhaps they would have gotten more at one time, but this is a particular item. So this would be kind of equivalent to a sealed box, and that's how they came. So anyway, that's a punch board. And then you have things similar to this, which would be more of a punch card. So in this case, you can see that they're just essentially a thicker piece of cardboard. It's basically a form of paper stock. And similar, this is a baseball themed one. This is for a penny. Home runs receive 25 pieces. This could have been something that might have been at a candy store, as an example. Base hit, you receive 15 pieces. Sacrifice hit, 4 pieces. Last play in each section. So you can see that each of these is a section. So if you were to punch the last one in the section, then you get a get 10 pieces. On the back, that's what those would look like. Again, typically fairly clean back, and they were double stock. So actually, the first one is just the push button, but then it's sealed on the back, so nobody can obviously see what it is. And the second one covers it up, and then the representation of the winning pieces is on one of those buttons. This particular one, excuse me, is made by Harlich Manufacturing, or Harlich company based out of Chicago, Illinois. And they would have produced many different versions. Oops, excuse me. This particular one here is by W.H. Brady Manufacturing Company in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Again, another baseball themed one. I'm hoping this clear is not. A little bit more colorful. There's the yellow and blue background to kind of signify the different sections. Baseball print there in the corner. 1 cent piece. You got your home run, receives 15 pieces. But similar kind of deal. Just another version of it. Colored back. These are obviously, none of these have been punched on those. This is another version by W.H. Brady, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So this one's very similar. In fact, it's actually using the same photo up in the top right corner, and the payoffs are essentially the same, but in comparison, this it only has two big sections. Okay, just basically a kind of a 4 square, if you will. And less color, just basically the red button with the white lettering and white background. But works the same way. Then this particular one is Charles A. Brewer, I believe, is the manufacturing company. Again, out of Chicago. Has a patent number written on the bottom of it. Again, baseball themed. Kind of the sliding into the catcher. This is 20 pieces. So this one specifically says candy on it. So home run is 20 pieces. 2 base hit, 10 pieces. Last play on the card gets you 15 pieces. So as it gets down to the end of the card, at the end of the section, people are incented to basically say, oh, there's 3 buttons. I'll go ahead. I'll give you 3 pennies. So it kind of gets someone to spend a little bit more money on it than what they otherwise would have, just to go ahead and clear it out. There's a lot of cheating in that going on by patrons and not patrons, excuse me, business owners. They would drill out their own things because they'd find out what it is. Then they went to a serial numbering concept to have to match up the serial number with that came out of the card itself, and so they came up with different preventative measures, because that was one of the reasons why punch cards lost their popularity, is because the businesses were actually cheating. They'd bore them out, and then they'd basically rig it to not have the payouts. So anyway, so that's that version. Here's a different style. Again, this one's 25 cents. This is another one I'm trying to get more information on exactly how it was to be played, and who the manufacturer of it was. You can see here, this is a version of the serial number 23470. And these are matched up here, and somehow it would correlate to the little doors that you would open up here: champion, major, minor, league, different price points. $25, $5, $2.50, or $2.50 in terms of I'm assuming winnings of some sort. If you get the home run, you win $25 off of a 25-cent entry. So I'm curious to find out actually a little bit more about this one and how it was actually played. Seems like it's a pretty good potential return if I look at the number of possible entries for a 25-cent buy-in for a $25 payout. There's got to be something there that makes that a little bit more profitable, or profitable at all. And then you can see here, this has kind of stitching that was used in some capacity to stitch up the information in the back. Again, I'm assuming theft prevention, so that you knew that if that was still intact, perhaps then it wasn't tampered with. So then, again, in the trading stimulator type family, punch card. This is a one for Seidenberg cigars. So 5 cents a piece. You could go ahead and purchase a punch for 5 cents, and then depending on what you get, you could win 5 cigars for a home run. Last play gets 3 cigars. Double play gets 1 cigar. Again, works the same basic way. Backs look the same, the little punch out circles, clean back. But again, nice baseball themed one. So that's where one of my main interest areas are. The other interest area is kind of the pinup or kind of sexy girl, whatever theme. And this particular one that I found actually was a combination of both, which actually the baseball glove was kind of secondary in terms of what caught my eye, but I thought it was really, really cool. And this was made by Hamilton Manufacturing Company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. One of my feelers that basically sent out was to see, how much supply would there be for ones that kind of a dual, dual themed, kind of baseball and pinup girl. I just think those would be a neat thing to display on the walls, or however I decide to show them. But again, something that's interesting to me. So then a few other items that I have in the collection that aren't necessarily baseball related. I'll raise this up here a little bit. Similar, you got the pinup girl holding the cat's claws, got the dress, but similar deal, 5 cents. Colored sections in here with the punch boards. Was there 5, 10, 15? So there's 25 punches in each square. So 25 times 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what is that? 1,000 punches on that one little board. So it's a neat way to have a lot of, old style lottery tickets, if you will, and not really take up much space. So I don't know. So this is the back. So inside of this little sealed area, now this is actually still in a wrapper, but the punch key that I was talking about here is in this area here. So you would punch that out, and then you pull out the key, which is basically just a fancy looking punch, small enough to fit in the hole to punch the ticket out. And this one here is for cigarettes. 500 punches free. I don't know what that means. But 5-cent buy-in, same deal. You got 10 punches per square, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So again, 1,000 punch board. So again, just a neat representation of the old punch boards, what they used to look like. Again, 2016 Topps Heritage put out some of the punch boards on their product. I literally have not picked up any, and I don't really have any desire to. I mean, I would probably add them if I found like a big stock at some point and they were just trying to get rid of them. But I just like, it's the old vintage stuff that I'm really more interested in as it relates to this. This is would have been probably a trade stimulator of some sort. In this particular style, the house would draw one, and the player would draw one, or the buyer would draw one, and essentially high ending number wins. So I'm assuming that the math behind it would be such that you're only going to know, or you'll know how many winners you're going to have as the business owner that buys them, to see what type of payout you're going to have to do. Because a lot of times they would advertise it based off of like how much profitability you would make if you were able to completely sell out the punch board or card, and depending on how many and all that stuff, you know, they would know what their profit would be like. Similar, I suppose, to today. You know, they know how many winning lottery tickets there are and how many there aren't, as it relates to like the scratch offs and that. So if they sell them all, they'll know what they're going to get. And I'll just show a couple more. It's the Big 5 punch board, 10 center, smaller version. So they came in all shapes and sizes. And in fact, they still make some repops of them. This is a Sportsman one, but this is not an old version. This is something that was more of a modern thing that was kind of made to look old. See the back here. This one's still in this wrapper, although the wrapper's kind of ripped, but punch is in there. This board is not to be used for distribution of merchandise. So again, there's still some illegality to these, as I understand it, or there's restricted use in terms of what you can actually use them for. And that, I don't know if that's across the entire United States or if that's specific to certain states. So here are some turkey ones. Again, goes to, I have a friend of mine, actually the beer can guy that I spoke to about that for something that comes beer cans, so the dual meaning. He's a very close lifetime friend of mine. He also works at a turkey farm, so I've got some of these in the collection. That's kind of it's almost a trio. It's like the punch boards make me think of my parents, and the turkey themed ones make me think of my buddy. And then I'm just kind of interested in the punch board concept. I think it's a neat thing. So those are all the same ones. So this is select your favorite girl and win a 10-pound turkey. So you basically, in this case, you're picking a name and you punch out the name. Similar deal. And then this particular one here I'm about to show is a little bit more similar to the look and feel, or the look of the 2016 Topps Heritage. So on their card, they would have had boxes similar to this representation, yeah. So basically, since they work the same way. So this is actually pretty cool. This is one of the ones that I spent a little bit more money on just to have to represent the turkey side of things. This one you get numbers out, and depending on what you get, you'll win. The following numbers: open seals, 100, 150, 200, and so forth. And 6 tickets per hole, 1 ticket free. So I guess buy 6, get 1. But again, just a neat part of my collection. At least I think it's neat. I think it's I think a lot of just the color, the vintage look of them, and just the subject matter is all over the course. There is a punchboard.com website that has kind of a little bit about the origin of punch cards, and there's a place out, I think it's Midvale, Utah, or somewhere near around Salt Lake City. That don't know if it's still true, but I think at one stage they were the largest in the world in terms of having a collection of these, and it was massive. Really interesting. So anyway, hope you enjoyed a little showcase video of the punch card collection, and thanks for watching. God bless.